Hello, welcome to what may be one of my longer videos. Before we begin the main event, let's see how we got here. So, a long time ago, I started working on Sparktales as a sort of game concept I thought would be neat. At the time it was mostly cool concept images, until one day I decided to start working on the game proper. Started with a concept of how the tile set would work, then made a quick test tile set, and then made a second better version of said tile set. The one I'm still using as of now. After that I started working on the basic overall mechanics, which provided a nice string of quick wins to keep the momentum going. This is also around when I decided to start documenting my progress on this very channel. You love science, but eventually my string of wins ran out and I was left with a few very big, very scary and very important systems I had to tackle before I could make further progress. This made me take a break from working on the game itself. A break spent doing plenty of world building for the game. Honestly, there's a lot of cool things that came out of that period, as you can probably see. But eventually I did gain the courage to tackle one of those systems, the titular battle system. Before we can get into my struggle with making the thing, I should probably explain what the system I'm making actually is. Honestly, battle system may be a bit of a misnomer, since how much any one encounter in Sparktales would count as a battle tends to vary on a case-by-case basis. But while making it, I defaulted to the conventional naming scheme of the genre, so at least internally, I'm stuck with that. Conflict resolution system may be closer to what it actually represents, but doesn't quite roll off the tongue as nicely. Or maybe it does. I don't know. As for how it works, well, it's pretty closely based on Deltarune system, especially when it comes to attack avoidance. However, there is one big difference. You can't choose to fight your opposition the conventional way. Your main form of interaction is through acting, though even that may prove trickier than merely filling up a mercy bar. Besides the acts, you'll have the self-explanatory action of using items and the miscellaneous menu, just for things like defending and running away. And that's mostly it for an outline, though as for what's possible with the details, well, the sky's the limit. And my imagination, and my willingness or ability to code it. So, how did I go about making all of that? As soon as I started working on the system, I ran into my first challenge. Control nodes are scary. They are confusing, and I can't approach them the same way I could other noding ago. This made for quite the intimidating first impression. But as I got to know them, I realized control nodes are pretty neat actually. There are two things one has to get comfortable with in order to handle control nodes. Firstly, containers. They govern how control nodes are arranged. Once you get comfortable with using them, they'll take care of putting everything into place for you. How convenient. Second off, themes. They control the look of control nodes. There's a lot to it, but it's quite a convenient and powerful tool once you get the hang of it. I'm still working on that part. The first lesson I learned while making the system is what allowed me to get the process moving in the first place. And that lesson was, when something's too big to grasp, sketch it out before you build it proper. In this context, it meant making a loosely tied together placeholder that shares a structure with the thing I'm actually trying to build. This allows me to have a structure to build a proper system upon. And as it turns out, swapping out the placeholder stuff for the real deal was less painful than my past self anticipated. Second lesson, modularity, which is already how Godot works as a baseline. Within the context of my battle system, this involved making it out of relatively independent pieces loosely connected to each other. This allows me to reuse any piece of the system when applicable. It also makes it so I can tweak any one part of the system without messing up the rest of it too much. Everything from the state machines to the sub-menus to the buttons themselves have been made following modular design principles. I could get further into it, but I'll leave that part for future me, with more experience with both video making and coding. Good luck, future me. The bugs. Just another day in the life of a coder, one might say. Doesn't make it any less frustrating. Especially when the problem stares you in the face, yet you don't notice it, and you frantically search through all of the code trying to find the issue. Let me tell you a story. So, if you wanna call a function, you add a pair of brackets. That's how it works in JavaScript, and most other programming languages I know. What happens if you say, forget those brackets? Well, at least when it comes to JavaScript, nothing. Seemingly nothing. It's just there, no error, no call, no nothing. Just an acknowledgement that the function even exists. And here is me, working on my battle system, when I notice that a piece of code is not running. I wonder why. I frantically add print statements all over the code. They frantically scream, trying to sniff out code stops executing. I look all over until I see those missing brackets. I let out an apocalyptic sigh, correct my mistake, and move on, but not before sharing it with all of my friends and the Godot Discord. There are many such stories, but I don't have them handy. Maybe better about keeping track of them in the future. Anyways, point is, bugs happen and can drive you mad. Right. I didn't even introduce myself. Even though there's a good chance that the effort I put into this video will result in this being your first experience with me and my game. Well, hi, I'm Stella, your quirky transgender witch, and I'm making Spark Tales, a suitably quirky RPG about a girl finally going out into the world, among many other things. Feel free to subscribe and follow me on my other socials, like my Blue Sky, if you wanna keep up to date with my progress, though you may be exposed to some of my other goofiness along the way. Anyways, without further ado, I wanna conclude this video with showcasing my progress so far in action. Behold! Looking for conflict, huh? If you are, you've come to the right place. If not, well, you're getting it anyway. This is stupid dum. Bum. I wanna read the sign. Come back here, you. Come back. Bum. Come back here, you freaking sign. I wanna read you. Boom. Dang. Whoa. Well, I knew my places would get it done. Wanna try again? Alright, let's actually do this now. Well, let's heal up, I guess. We're in the negatives. Okay, we're no longer in the negatives. Okay, this is really exciting. Avoid the sign, is not for reading. Dang, you beat my places. Whoa. Bum.